Good morning and welcome to Tools of the Trade podcast. Tools of the Trade is brought to you by Joseph Davidson, a firefighter located in western North Carolina. Today's special guest is Blake Stinnet. Blake has been on the job for 12 years and has a heart and mission to serve the people he works beside. He lives in Madison, Georgia with his beautiful wife, Natalie, and their three precious children, Laylee, Jack, and Henry. Above all, Blake loves the Lord and knows that every opportunity he receives is from Him and for Him. He is also the co-founder of Next Rung, which is a nonprofit that exists to address the mental health issues of firefighters and first responders. Blake's hope and passion is to help people see that they are valued, loved, and that they have a purpose here on this earth. Through Next Rung, he's able to accomplish that goal and more. Blake is a fireman outside of the metro Atlanta area and serves as a cadre member with Bears of the Oath. Good morning, Blake. Thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you. We talked before. This is the first episode, and I'm excited to get this thing started.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and always grateful to just chop it up, man, and talk shop or whatever questions come.
Sounds like a great time. So, let's kick it off. Tell us about where you're at now, department wise. How long you've been there?
Yeah, so man, recently it's been kind of a wild ride. So I actually stepped out of the fire service full time back in October of 23, and just started working part time. And I work at my church doing our youth ministry. So still doing the part time thing though. Getting all my calls and stuff like that in, and actually back on New Year's Eve of this past year into New Year's Day, man, I was in a really bad accident. So I was I was driving a fire engine, man. We were responding to a brush fire call, and just had some really high winds, man. And a crosswind hit us about little over 30 miles an hour and pushed us off the road. And anyway, man, I went to bring it back on, and all that weight shifted and just sent us off to the other side into some trees. And anyway, man, really bad accident. So that was with Greene County, and that's currently where I say that I serve, even though I'm on medical leave and trying to heal up. But I broke or fractured my sternum, broke my elbow, broke my femur in two spots, broke my fibula, and tore my calf muscle and my Achilles tendon. So anyway, man, it's been quite the journey over the past four months or a little bit longer now. But yeah, that's the intro to say I work for Greene County. Prior to that, I was with the city of Sandy Springs and rode on our squad there, technical rescue unit, and was there for about 7.5 years. And I started with Gwinnett County back in 2015. And man, that's kind of where my full-time career started, was with Gwinnett County. And then I volunteered for a couple of years when I first got married. It was one of those things, man, I wanted to do. And that was the first way to get started. So volunteered for a little over 2 years, but man, for a total of 12 years in the fire service as a whole.
That's awesome, man. 12 years is a heck of a time. Even now, you got some people that get in maybe 5, and then there's just not many that seem to want to stick it out for long anymore. So 12's a heck of a feat in time. I was following social media as far as you and the incident, so it's good to know that you're healing up. Still following on Facebook and everything. You seem to be getting back around and moving, so that's great. That is great to see and hear. Um, so Next Rung, you've got it moving and started. It's helping out with mental health for first responders and emergency services. Tell us what brought that on.
Yeah, man. Shoot, it's Next Rung started as a t-shirt company. So initially nothing brought Next Rung on other than being a rookie fireman and wanting to, I don't know, man, just do something. And the goal was, all right, let's start a t-shirt company, sell some hats, some stickers, shirts, all the apparel. And I knew firemen loved them, I loved it, and wanted to start there and take a portion of the proceeds and give it back to a nonprofit. So the goal was to give back. I just didn't know what that was going to look like. And then a couple months after I started Next Rung in 2017, I lost a friend and coworker to suicide, and our department actually that I started with in Gwinnett County, we lost 5 guys in 2.5 years. Some were on the job, some were already, retired out. But it was a lot of people, man, that were, taking their lives. And I didn't realize this was an issue. I was still new into the fire service on the career side of it. And I just had no clue what that looked like, and just really started asking questions, man. And I didn't like what I was finding out, that this is an issue across the United States. It's not just an issue here in Georgia and in my department, but again, this is, something that we're seeing across the United States. And again, man, asking questions, just trying to figure out what that looks like. And I look at it and I was like, oh, man, maybe we can make a difference here. And also is it really into, physical fitness, obviously. And there's a lot of, people already doing that. But during that time, I brought my co-director on, Charlie Brown, and, he had been through, some of the things, like every, firefighter, first responder has on the job, experienced some difficulties, and, just the trauma, just the stress it puts on your life as a whole, on the job, off the job, with marriage and so many other things. And Charlie, a little bit later, actually ended up losing a good friend of his on a wildfire. Man, he's out in California, and lost a really good friend of his, Corey Iverson, on a wildland fire. And man, it just, all these things started to just continue to come, and we're like, man, we gotta start making a difference on the mental health aspect of it. Physical health is important, but that's being done well. It's being taken care of. We don't need to, repeat that and, recreate the wheel. So we both had an interest in mental health. For myself personally, I have an undergrad in psychology, and really just love talking with people and just trying to, figure out what that looks like, and those conversations. So we decided to, put our money where our mouth is. And we decided that we would be that organization that we were looking for, that we, were going to give back to. So we filed for our nonprofit status and got that December 28th of 2017. And from there, man, we just kind of, hit the ground running, and it was all trial by fire. Neither one of us had run a nonprofit before. We didn't know what this is going to look like, but we just knew that people needed help, and we wanted to offer something. So we started with a helpline. We, as silly as this sounds, man, I got a Google number, and I was like, all right, bro, here's what we're going to do, man. We're just going to put this number out there. If anyone needs help, they're going to text us, they're going to call, and we'll be here to help with that. Hoping that people would actually do it, but not sure, if it was actually going to happen. And man, we put it out there, and people started calling and texting, and it was kind of overwhelming at first. It was just Charlie and myself who were, we were running this thing. We had a board of directors as a nonprofit, because that's, something that's mandatory to begin a nonprofit. But as far as, the people that are answering the phone calls, it was just Charlie and I, and it was wild, man. I think we answered close to 100 calls the first year, just between he and I. So it was a lot going on, man, but we were so thankful. And we learned during that time of answering phone calls that peer support was good, and it worked for a lot of people, but there were people who were also still needing more help outside of that. They were looking for professional help, counseling, or they were struggling with addiction and need to go to treatment centers. And we learned a lot. And so we're like, crap, man, like, what are we going to do? We got to start raising some money so that we can help these people out and send them to counseling and send them to get treatment, and just, figure out what this is going to look like. So, man, in a nutshell, that's really what it looked like. It started as a t-shirt company. I brought Charlie on, we turned it into a nonprofit, and here we are, man. We're going on 8 years, which has been absolutely incredible.
That's, it's truly incredible how something so small becomes as big as it is now. You know as well as I do, and anybody else that'll listen to this, the fire service changes. It's constantly changing, and it's changed both technically and culturally now compared to 20 years ago. And on the mental health aspect, a lot of times 20 years ago it was, bottle it up, don't worry about it, it'll be all right. We'll go home, we'll deal with it, we'll come back the next day, everything will be fine. Whereas now, because of next strung and departments that are starting to use things like EAPs, or when they're actually promoting them, using those resources like that, there's finally starting to get some people help, but we're still seeing, it's still a problem. It's still there. How would you say you've witnessed that cultural change over time?
Man, I think it's still changing. It's there's still a lot that's attached to it, stigma wise, and people just not thinking that it's, as I say, my wife's like, why do you say this? But it's not sexy, dude. Mental health is not sexy.
Right.
Like going interior or searches or anything of that nature. And man, we all love those things. I hope every fireman loves those things. If they don't, then they shouldn't be on the job. But when it comes to mental health, man, it's just trying to do it in a way that is attractive. Is I don't know if that sounds bad or not, but that was my goal, and it's still my goal. Is I want to make mental health attractive for people to be a part of and to experience and to get help with, because the more attractive it is, the more people that talk about it, the more that these influencers and these people who are making a difference in the fire service talk about those things. That's where the true change is happening there. And I'm also a big advocate for the change coming from you and the firehouse that you serve in and the crew that you were a part of. I'm such a huge just fan of how do we change it from where we're at. Everyone has that ability if we just actually do it, and we show up every single time that we're on shift with a mission and a purpose to serve the people that work beside us. We know that our job is to go and to serve the community and the citizens that are there. That shouldn't be something that we have to say anymore. Obviously, we know that's still an issue, right? I mean, we see stuff all the time where people aren't willing to do that, but it should go without saying that the citizens are first. And I think, the closest second, or tied with that spot, would be the crew that you work beside, man. Like, there's so much that you can do there. There's so much that you can pour into that if you serve them the same way that you serve the people in your community that you work for. Man, I truly believe we're going to change so much and allow people to experience mental health in the greatest way. And really what that looks like, dude, is just, getting to know that person, be intentional about what that looks like. How do we do that? By having conversations, by training together, by working out, by getting to know them personally, knowing their name. Obviously, like we know the guys' names that we work beside, but do we know their spouse's name? Do we know their kid's name? Do we know the things that they're interested in? Do we talk to them when they're off shift? Or, I just wrote a thing the other day, and it's like, I mean, a lot of guys are station bros. You know what I mean? Like, we come to the firehouse and we're brothers there. And, we really kind of, talk and hang out, and we never talk to each other off shift. We never do anything together. Like, we've got to start pouring into the people that we work beside as much as we pour into our training and pour into, what our job is for the citizens, man. Every single one of us, hopefully, is willing to go and do and make the ultimate sacrifice, because that's what we signed up to do, man. We're supposed to go and we're supposed to be there. We're supposed to search for those people and give them every chance to be alive and to save them from the grips of death. And we really have to start doing that for the people that we work beside as well. I truly believe that's where the greatest change comes from, is when we start, looking inward to the people that we work beside and to the four walls of our firehouse, and making sure that we have a servant mindset when it comes to that.
I know one of the things, I guess, pops into my head the way I look at it is sometimes how can we be expected to save someone else if we can't even save ourselves? Um, you know, again, with that cultural shift, for years everybody kind of tucked it away, but now it's to the point we have to say, okay, something's not right, something's wrong. I need to go find help. And I mean, I personally, I went through some bouts of mental health stuff with work, just over time, life issues, but, you know, made it through it. I made it through it because of having a good support system from work. But I think one of the things that pushed me through that was realizing, hey, I need help, which was obviously the hardest part, because sometimes we're just blind to it, especially if it's ourselves or people we work with directly. And then secondly, trying to figure out how to go and find it. That was the hardest part for a while after
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
important, man. We
oh,
gotta we gotta focus inward. We gotta start looking at those things, and we have to help ourselves, man. It's not a secret anymore that we struggle on the job. I mean, the numbers that are reported, and really, there's only one organization that keeps up with it, and they estimate the reportings at 60% of truly what happens, and that's Firefighter Behavior Health Alliance. Jeff Dill records those numbers every year, and that's according to them and what they've done, probably close to 60% of what's being reported. So that means there's an additional 40% on top of the number that is reported of people who have taken their lives in the fire service and in the first responder service as a whole. And this year already, man, we're at 29 firefighters. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah.
To look at that and just I don't know, man. It's heartbreaking to see that. And it's not even halfway through the year yet. You know what I mean? And the numbers are still coming in. Last year, 2024, there was 130 suicides that were reported. So add additional 40% on top of that. Like, dude, it's not a secret, man. We know that we struggle in this job. We know that it's the things that happen on the job. It's, some of the trauma, which I think accounts for it, but it's probably a lower percentage, than what we lead on. A lot of times it's easy to say, man, it's the bad calls. Like, yeah, bad calls suck, but and a lot of times we're pretty good at getting through that. But what about the leadership issues that we have? What about the vindictiveness there and just the way that we're treated, or just the way that we're overlooked, or whatever that looks like? Man, we could get into a whole spiel on that on just what we've seen recently within the past 24 hours with a well-known chief and mentor in the fire service with Kurt Isaacson, and just the things that have come out about that. So I mean, we're seeing that there are issues, man, and no one's untouchable, dude. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you've done for the fire service and how great you are at it. It doesn't make you untouchable, and it doesn't matter who knows your name or who doesn't know your name, man. Like, everyone in this job, I feel like, man, we all have struggles. Some are just at a different level, but man, it's just one of those things that, I don't know, we just got to start talking about it, man. Take care of each other and be intentional about what that looks like.
So walk us through, if you don't mind, what the process is when someone reaches out to Next Rung.
Yeah, so what they do is they can call or text us. We prefer to have a text message, and that just allows us to get someone lined up with the firefighter, first responder that's needing our assistance. So if they can text the word support to our number, then we have someone who gets back with them. Every single day we have people on call. There's a 7-day rotation, and we got a little over 30 people who serve on our peer support team. They're all men and women who are on the job or that have retired out and have been involved in some sort of capacity of being a firefighter or first responder, and just trained to, navigate those conversations. What does that look like? They all have their own experiences, and it just breaks down those walls naturally of, man, when you come in, you don't have to explain yourself to us because we already understand it, and we know that lifestyle, and likely someone on our team has dealt with whatever that person is dealing with. So we try to, get them with the best person, and really just, someone who's going to listen and be there for them, to just kind of, be a listening ear so they can get some of this stuff out. And as we navigate that conversation, we try to figure out, can we handle this through peer support alone? Our goal is, and our biggest hope is that we can handle it through peer support, which is just one-on-one conversation. It's nothing crazy, man. We're just talking with them, just getting to know who they are, and trying to get an understanding of where they're at and what's going on in their minds, and and in their life. So as we figure that out, if we can handle it through peer support, great. Then that's our goal. We talk with them initially, and then we have a follow-up system. That person continues to maintain contact with them over the next several weeks, and we follow up, a certain amount per week. And then, if they don't need us anymore, then great. We're going to be there, like, hey, if you need us again in the future, reach out. Some people, stick around for, 3-4 weeks. Sometimes it's, 6 weeks. Sometimes it's, several months. And then there's sometimes, man, people call and they just need one conversation, and they're like, oh man, that was so helpful. Thank you for just allowing me to get that off my chest for a minute. I need to do that. And I didn't have anyone that I could do that with. So thank you for being there for us. So our goal from there, if they need further help outside of peer support, is to connect them back to professional resources. And that's where we kind of come in and make sure that they're connected with someone that's culturally competent, which just means that someone who understands. You're not going to make them cry. You're not going to, baffle them with your stories and end up being their counselor. That was one of the things that we heard so many times is, dude, I can't go to another counselor. Last time I ended up trying to console them, because I was making them cry with some of the stories I was telling them. So our goal is to make sure they get lined up with someone who understands and isn't taken back by some of the things that they might say, even if it's not trauma related. We always make sure that that the counselor is able to handle that, because even if we don't come with that specifically, it's probably going to come up in conversation. Some of the things that we've seen and been a part of, and the calls that we've run. But man, there's so much that goes into what brings each person there. There's marital issues, there's financial issues, there's alcoholism, or just drinking too much, or not being present with a family. I mean, dude, you name it, there's so many different reasons why everyone comes in. It's not just trauma, it's not just suicidal thoughts. We're here for every type of conversation, whether small or big, or the issue is small or big. Man, there's nothing too small, there's nothing too great that we aren't willing to talk with people and walk with them through. And that's what we want people to know. It's not just here for us to catch you as you're going over the waterfall, but we want to catch you upriver before things get to that point, and you get to a situation or a point in your life where you're like, all right, man, this is a last ditch effort. We don't want to be the last ditch effort. We want to help you way before you get there. And man, it's actually been pretty cool over the past couple of weeks. We've actually had some of those conversations where people are like, hey man, I'm just trying to get ahead of this because I know it could be an issue in the future. And I love to hear that. I love when people are thinking ahead of the curve, and trying to get themselves help before it does get bad.
I think the more of a mindset we can build for people to catch it like that, catch it early in a sense, and realize, hey, there's something's not right, or things don't feel like they're going well, then being able to get a hold of that before it goes on is definitely going to kind of help in the long run from things worsening and becoming more of a problem. And it's like you said, sometimes it's not even just the stuff from the job itself. It's outside. It's marital or whatever it may be at home, and they can go hand in hand, and they all affect one another. I've unfortunately bared witness to some of it, and seen others I've worked with or been grown up around. They've been affected by it. So it's something that it's there. I don't think we can always avoid it, but learning how to navigate it. And Next Rung is an awesome resource, and very thankful that you and everybody that's taking a part of it has helped get it going, and doing that to help people in this career field. I think having someone that definitely understands this side, this line of work, to talk to about it all makes a large difference, because it's like you said, sometimes you go to a normal, typical counselor, you're going to end up making them cry and be a counselor to them, because they don't have an idea of what's going on or what you're dealing with. So, I mean, that, just looking in the long run, is a big help. So that is about all I have. I want to say thank you for coming on today and talking about Next Rung, talking about yourself a little bit, and how people can access those resources. If
Yeah.
there's some links maybe you can send, or I can just pull them up, I'll share them when I get some things set to share the podcast out.
Yeah, absolutely. We're on social media. Next Rung is on, Instagram, Facebook. We have a website, nextrung.org, and you can find all those resources there. But man, I just want to say this too, and I, no one is off limits to suffering. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, to me, one of the things that we should understand that's going to come, especially from this job and what it has to offer. It doesn't make it any less attractive, right? I mean, I wouldn't give it up for the world. I love what we do, and I'm aware of the things that are going to come. We never know how it's going to impact us. We never understand what that truly looks like until we're in the midst of it. But man, I just think we got to be smart on some of these things. Like, we have to prepare ourselves that it is going to come. And I don't know if that's a mentality for everyone, or for many people out there, that suffering is inevitable. It's just part of life, man. Like we're going to suffer. We're going to struggle. There are going to be days where the wind is in our face and we're feeling every bit of it. And then there's going to be days where the wind's at our back, man, and just, pushing us downhill, and it's good. But we're not off limits to, the things that come from this job. We're not off limits to the things that come from, our family and marriages and, finances or anything in between, man. Like there's just so much that can go wrong. And it's one of those things that we carry with us no matter where we're going. We carry stuff with us from our house that we, take to the station, to the firehouse. People are like, well, just check it out the door. Don't bring your crap in here, dude. It's impossible. And, that shouldn't be the mentality. Man, we should be able to go and say, dude, I'm struggling, like I haven't slept at all. I got a newborn, and it's been 3 months of no sleep. Like I just need to take a nap. Can I go take a nap? And, your officer being okay with that, I mean, that's just a simple, illustration of some of the things that we're facing. But, it's just things like that, man, where we have to be understanding that, man, we're all people, dude. We're all people, and we just have things going on in life, and it's not always 24/7 focus on the job. When we show up to the firehouse, absolutely, man, that's our goal, is to be there and to serve the citizens and do the best that we can and give them our all. But there's some things that come along with that, man. I think we just gotta start putting people around us, creating a group for yourself of people that you can freaking trust, man. Like I don't know what that looks like. It doesn't even have to be the people that you work with. I hope and pray that you trust them and that they would do everything for you, but have some people outside of that. Create a group of 3 or 4 people that you could say, hey man, this is just not going well. I got to figure something out. Can you help me out with this? Can you, be praying for me? Can you, shoot me in the right direction? You got any advice on this? Like we have to start doing that for ourselves, man, because I think that's what it comes down to a lot of times is, man, we're just not prepared for that suffering, and we think that we can handle it on our own. And man, we shouldn't have to do that. We shouldn't have to handle it on our own, man. We're built and created to desire community, and to share this life with people. So share the good, share the bad, man, and have people that are going to be willing to come along beside you and just pick up that yoke with you and say, hey, bro, you don't got to do this by yourself, man. I'm here for whatever. And, just start building that before you get into a time of need. Be there for people before they're facing struggles or something bad does happen. It's easy to kind of jump in and be in the mix, man. We're used to that, right? As firemen and first responders, we're used to showing up with, mass chaos going on and saying, all right, we got a solution to this. Like that's what we do. But who really loves pre-planning? No one. We're like, oh, I gotta do pre-planning again. Like it's just one of those things is like, I don't want to do that. But really on the mental health side of things, man, we're good at jumping in when things are chaotic and things go bad. Hey, bro, whatever you need, I got you. We'll go cut your yard. We'll be there. Whatever that looks like, man. I mean, we're good at that. But the pre-plan aspect of it, dude, when you pre-plan something, I don't know, like for you, right? You go into your first due and you pre-plan something and you roll up on it. You're like, dude, I've been here before. I know what I know what the layout of this structure. I know what it looks like on the inside. I remember, it was a hoarder home. Like this isn't going to be good. We got a lot of things up against us, right? What if we do the same thing for our mental health? What if we pre-plan that saying, all right, I got people in place. I have resources in place. And if something is to happen and crap hits the fan, I know what my process is to get through this. And it's the same way for us on the job. When we pre-plan for stuff, when we walk through, businesses or, homes, because we've been there on, maybe medical calls or whatever it might be, or previous calls, like we know what that looks like. We know what we're up against. And it's not a surprise to us. It's like knowing where the hydrants are on your territory, knowing where the roads are, all these things like that help you, get to and do your best work when you show up to structure fire or whatever it might be. It's the same thing with our mental health, man. Like we can be prepared for it, and we can do our best because we've already put things in place. We've pre-planned it out and said, all right, man, it's coming. I can't stop it, but I got resources in place. I got people who are checking in on me and people that I can talk to, and we're going to make it through this. So, man, I just want to say that because I feel like that's so vital and so important. And I want more people to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, I greatly appreciate it, man. I think it was some awesome choice of words and everything. I like the analogy, looking at it like a pre-plan. In your first do, we know those buildings, we know what's in them, what we're up against, but if we don't pre-plan everything else, it's gonna be a whole different battle. So again, I just want to say thank you for your time, man. It was great having you today.
Yeah,
Hope
man. I'm
yeah,
grateful. Thanks for letting me be the first episode. Hopefully it goes well, So you guys keep listening. I'm sure it gets better from here. But thank you, man. I think everyone's got a voice, dude. And like I said, I told you, just keep doing it, man. If you got something on your mind, then make it happen, dude. That's the only thing that we can do, and keep moving forward with it. So I'm excited for you and to see where all of it goes. But thanks for allowing me to be the first guest. And if you need anything, you let me know. But for all of you guys out there listening, if you need anything, please just let us know. We're here for you. Nextrung.org. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. Reach out to us, and we're going to be here for you. But our number is 833-698-7864. You can reach out to us there. Just text the word support, and man, we got a lot of people who are willing to help you out.
and all my listeners, hopefully that'll start gathering and whatnot. Just wanted to say thank you guys. Your support will be greatly appreciated. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Tools of the Trade. Stay tuned for more. We will be having some awesome guests lined up, hopefully, in the next couple weeks. I look forward to sharing with you guys as we go on. Again, thank you. This is Tools of the Trade.